Hello and welcome. You're watching the SABC News Channel, independent and impartial. I'm Peter Ndoro and this is The Globe. And it's a breaking story that leads this hour, and it takes us to the Durban CBD, where our reporter Ayanda Mhlongo is standing by. Ayanda, a very good evening to you. I believe that what we're witnessing in the Durban CBD could be post-election violence.
A very good evening to you, Peter, and good evening to our viewers at home. Certainly, Peter, this is what it appears to be post-election violence. We are coming to you from the area of Umbilo here in the Durban CBD, where a few minutes ago we were alerted to developing a situation here where residents of a nearby hostel, the Dalton Hostel, went on the rampage here in the city. Roads surrounding this area have now been closed off by law enforcement agencies, and what we are told is that these residents are angry because they were unable to cast their votes on Monday. As you see where we are, we're coming to you from eThekwini College. This was one of the voting stations. This area falls under Ward 32 in the eThekwini Metro. This was one of the voting stations in this area, and the residents of this nearby hostel would have cast their votes here at this college. As you see, the destruction already here outside. This is the guard gate of the college. They've already broken down windows, and I'm just going to ask my colleague Ndabezinhle Khumalo to come with us as we show the destruction to this college. They seemingly gained entry into the college. There's a vehicle inside that has now been set alight, and parts of the college have also been set alight. And we also see that there's one of the buildings, in fact, the building with the lights on, if my colleague Ndabe can show our viewers, that is where the voting station is. This part of the college, as you see there, E block, that is where the voting station was. And of course, this was one of the voting stations, Peter, that we actually had visited during the voter registration weekend here in the Durban CBD. It is also quite dangerous, Peter. In fact, the police have cordoned off the main roads, which is Gale Street and this main street that runs across the hostel. Police saying that it is very dangerous. We also have been hearing that there is live ammunition that has been fired. We understand that these residents are angry, saying that when they came to vote on Monday, they had registered to vote about 400 of the residents of the Dalton Hostel. When they came to vote, their names did not appear on the voters' roll, and as a result, they claimed that they were unable to then cast their votes. I don't know if my colleague Ndabe can show our viewers just in the distance there, that large group of people that have gathered there. Their satellite tires and rubble have completely closed down the road. We have also seen law enforcement officers have also come out now in their numbers. At this point, Peter, the police officers have cordoned off the road, trying to ensure that other motorists do not come into this area. We are going to try to move a little bit closer to this crowd to actually find out exactly what is the reason that has led them to now destroy parts of this college. But one of the leaders of this group who resides at the hostel telling us that this is anger over the fact that they did not vote. Why they did not raise this through the proper channels, as of course political parties and people who are unhappy with the elections and the electoral process are able to lodge objections. We do, however, Peter, remember that in one of the media briefings, the IEC in the province of KwaZulu-Natal did did say that there was some disruption on voting day at this voting station, where a group of people had come to the voting station and interrupted voting. Police had to be called in, and at some point IEC officials had told us that the ballot box had in fact been taken by the angry group that had stormed into the voting station. Police reinforcements, we were told at the time, were called in, and the voting and counting was able to continue. But this was one of the stations where quite a number of police officers thereafter had to be deployed to the station. In fact, the counting as well did not take place here. The electoral staff, presiding officers and the party agents had to move to another venue, another secure venue. So that was an indication at that point that there was some unhappiness from these residents of this hostel. Of course, the IEC also telling us then that people who had gone out to register in September, on the 18th and the 19th of September, once you had registered to vote or updated your details, you would have had to receive an SMS. And so it wasn't clear whether or not these residents that were unhappy that they were not on the voters' roll, whether or not they had received those SMSs, and what they did afterwards to check with the IEC as to whether or not they were on the voters' roll and would be able to cast their votes. Just from a distance, Peter, I can tell you that we did see some of this group wearing IFP T-shirts. The hostel is just a few meters away where the group is currently gathered. This entire road has now been blockaded off, and as you can see, I'm going to ask my colleague Ndabe to show our viewers here. They were burning tires and rubble, and large bricks and stones have been thrown on this road, blockading access to this road. It's not the only road, of course, where they have blockaded. Another road, Gale Street, just above from where we are, that has also been closed off, and police, of course, have now been deployed here to this area. The police, in fact, telling us when they were here that it is not safe for us to be here and that we should move away. So we are going to try and see if we can get to these residents to find out exactly what the problem is, and of course why, if they did not find their names and details on the voters' roll, and if they weren't able to cast their votes, why they did not follow through the proper channels. But developing a story here in KwaZulu-Natal and Durban, Peter, as parts of this campus, eThekwini College, Melbourne campus, has been destroyed by these angry residents. Peter?
Ayanda, just to get a sense of whether this situation is contained or not, the police, are they on the ground, and have they surrounded the residents that were involved in this violence, or could they still leave without the police arresting anybody?
Well, at this point, Peter, the police are actually standing quite a distance away. They have decided to close off the roads leading to this area. We have not seen any police officers move in towards this crowd. What they told us is that it was dangerous, and in fact, they're saying that they were firing live ammunition, and as a result, it was not safe for anybody to get anywhere closer to this crowd. So what we've seen the police do, and I'm going to ask my colleague Ndabe just to show our viewers, just in the distance there, you see the blue lights. That is where the police are. Wow. They have cordoned off that section of the road to ensure that motorists and other people do not come down the road. And that is what they told us, that we shouldn't move closer to to this group as it is not safe. I am seeing some people who are walking towards us, Peter, so we will try and see if we can speak to them to find out why they have gone on this rampage and what is the cause of this and why they've had to completely destroy this college, which was, as I've said, a voting station here in the eThekwini metro.
All right, Ayanda,
All right,
we
some
want
people
you...
are moving closer, but I
Okay.
don't know whether or not.
All right, I think be safe rather. Probably step back, move closer towards the police, I suspect, and then just assess the situation because we don't know how volatile these people are. So I'm going to leave you for the time being, get safe, and then when we can, we'll come back to you when you've assessed the situation and you're feeling a bit safer. All right, Ayanda, thanks very much indeed. Please be safe. We'll catch up with you again once you're a little bit safer. So that's a developing story right now. Violence being seen in the Durban CBD, and these are residents from a nearby hostel who are angry that they didn't get to cast their vote on Monday. They said that they were registered, but it's still a developing story. We're still trying to figure out why now. Why didn't they raise their issues earlier? But it sounds as if the Electoral Commission knew and felt that this potentially was a hotspot because they moved the counting machinery away from that location. So they probably had a sense that it wasn't safe. All right, so we're going to unpack all of that and a number of other issues, the elections in general, but this story as well, coming up with my political analyst who I'll introduce to you just now.